one. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another one-on-one with Tommy Sotomayor. And I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a programming note that tomorrow afternoon I will be going one-on-one with porn star Lethal Lips. I didn't know anything about Lethal Lips except for I made a video about Lethal Lips, and the video I made about Lethal Lips got into Lethal Lips' hands, the one where the woman was twerking and the white people were grabbing her ass. So she wants to address me on what I said in the video about her. So apparently people get their hands on the videos I make about them and they want to come on the show, which is fine because I shouldn't be able to say anything about anyone if I'm not willing to stick up for it. Now, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, here's a new take on the one-on-ones. And I have a young man who calls into the show a lot and he gives great advice. So why not have him come on and talk to you guys as well? Let them know about what you do in your channel first off.
All right. Well, my name is Brian Redmond, and the platform that I have is called The Relationship Rehab. It's a website, therelationshiprehab.com. It's a YouTube channel, therelationshiprehab.com.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what I do is it's an open platform where people send me questions. I also do videos and talk about different topics that, people have every day. Whether it's love relationships or just, friends and family relationships, things like that, just different ways and how we communicate and how we relate to each other. That's pretty much what I try to, talk about and just have conversations about, open up topics and making sure that, people have a place where they can come to ask those questions that they may not have an outlet for or may be too afraid to ask certain people or that person that they may be with. So,
all right, well, cool. Well, we had talked about an idea of doing a show together, so that's how we got here. And one of the things you do is you try to repair things. Me, I'm always either trying to break shit or talk about what's broken.
Yes, you tears it down, brother.
Yeah,
I'm trying to build them up. Yes,
right,
sir.
it is what it is. And a lot of people will talk about it. They say, well, we don't talk that much about the building of relationships. So let's get into some of that. Let's get into some of why you even thought to make a channel and a program that way.
Well, I would definitely want to say first and foremost,
get some feedback from your mic. Uh-oh, it went away. Uh-oh, now it's back. It's going a little bit. I can hear it. What is that? One of your wires touching? You don't hear it?
All right, wait a minute. Let's get here.
We may have to talk through it.
Okay.
Because it's just slight now. It's just slight now. So go ahead.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to do was I've always been a person who has been just that guy to give advice. I've just had I guess a certain type of, wisdom about myself, just even when I was young. So I was always that go-to guy when my friends or people just had questions about things, what they should do in this, what they should do in that situation. And I was just that person. As I gotten older and just through life experience, I've learned a lot and I've seen a lot. And I've just wanted to say, hey, this is something that I'm really good at doing. I think that I've always given pretty much sound advice. And I wanted to do it. It was something that was just in me to do. So I said, well, let me try to, I guess, get my thoughts and stuff out there and get those things that I've talked about with people and things that have worked with people. I've gotten it out there. And I said, well, I don't have necessarily like a platform to do it on. And one of the things that I definitely always try to make sure that I give props to is you, because you inspired me to do what I do.
It's doing it again. I don't know what that is. Like it got louder. Now it done got too loud where we can't talk over it. Let me ask, do you guys hear it?
Is it still there?
I'm going to see if they can hear it. I can hear it, but if they can't hear it, then I'll get past it. I just want to make sure that we're not recording it. The people in the audience, do me a favor, guys. Somebody said yes. So what is that? Because it wasn't there before.
It could be because it wasn't there before.
Yeah, they're all saying they're hearing it. And they said, yep, and it's getting louder.
And it's getting louder.
Yep, because it's loud now. You know what? Look, I can try something. I can hang up and call you right back.
Let me try this. Let's do that. I don't have any wires touching anything.
Yeah, there's something that's either near your mic
Okay.
Is it do you have a USB mic? What is that?
Yeah, it's a USB mic. Yep.
Hmm.
Let me move that. What's this? Is it my headphones?
It stopped.
It stopped.
Whatever you did made it stop.
I just moved that cord to make sure that it was connected tight. I guess it may have been a little loose.
All right, there you go. Okay,
Good.
yeah. Okay, you were saying that you when you make sure you give me shouts out.
Oh yeah, man. So it's like it is you. I guess it inspired me to take a chance and to do it. It was like one of the first things that I remember seeing you was when you did a video about the pastor Bishop Trotter in Chicago about the baby in the tub. And it was like, I was like, man, this dude is wild. And he's out there. He just, man, just he going off. And it was like something I saw. And it was like, man, I just kept watching. I just kept watching and following you after that. And it was just things that you would say and things that you did. I was like, man, this dude is an everyday type of dude. And he's doing something that's really helping people, even though some people may take it wrong or take it differently. I said, man, maybe that's something that I can do with things that I do. And I said, well, man, why not give it a try? And man, here I am, man. And it's like a few years later and my dreams are coming true, man. So I just want to help somebody at the end of the day, man, to become a better version of themselves, man. That's at the end of the day what I'm trying to do.
Nice. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some of the things that I bring up, and let's see if we can patch up some of these holes in the Black community as far as, especially when it comes to relationships. If you had to name the top 3 things that sabotage your relationship, what would they be?
I would probably say first and foremost is communication. And I say that because a lot of people always say communication, and a lot of people say you got to communicate. But I'm the person where I always say it's not that we don't communicate, it's that we don't know how to communicate properly. And I think that a lot of people don't communicate properly because of really 2 things. They are afraid or they have reservations about being truthful and transparent. So it's like, if you can't be truthful and transparent with yourself, how can you be truthful and transparent with me? You know, if I can't, say, hey, this is the type of person that I am, these are the type of things that I like to do, and be able to be confident in saying that, then how can I deal with somebody else who's going to be in a relationship with me and they don't even know the real me because I can't tell them because I'm too ashamed or I'm too fearful myself, whether it's fear of rejection or whether it's just, being shameful about what it is that I am or what it is that I do. If I can't be confident in that in myself, then how can I expect somebody else to even accept that?
I agree.
I would say probably number 2 would probably be being able to self-assess, being able to look at yourself, see where you at, see the type of person that you are, and see those things, there are opportunities that you may have to be better, and actually saying, hey, this is what I am, and this is what I need to work on, and going from that particular point. I would say part 2 to that, I guess, or number 3 to that would be.
Let's stop you right there. Self-assess. Okay. I think that's one of the things that plague the Black community probably more than anybody else. Because, see, everybody else is either judged by success or failure because they see success or failure. But I think the problem with Black people is that we have so few successes that we measure our successes by things that aren't successes because we're trying to get ourselves out of failures that we've been mired in. If you come from a family where failure is normal, if you come from a hood family and you've all been in the projects, well, your level of success, the measurement changes. So now your level of success may be, well, I got a car. Now your level of success may be, well, I take care of all my kids' babies' daddies ain't in prison. You see what I'm saying? Like, the self-assessment becomes difficult for a group of people who basically are on the floor and anything is considered up because they're on the floor. So everything is considered up. They don't have a level of let's get to sea level first and then see if we can reach the mountaintop. So I think self-assessment becomes very difficult amongst Black people, especially Black women, which is why they say they take pride in everything. Black women take pride in anything. The woman who called in my show said, I could have gotten pregnant by everybody who I had sex with, but I didn't. That's not an honest self-assessment. Do you think that this part right here, the self-assessment, do you think that's probably above communication, because technically self-assessment has to do with communicating and being honest with yourself before you can be honest with someone else.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I feel that also too, the thing about the self-assessment piece is we have this thing because and here's my, I guess I'm one of those people that's like, I believe that most of the things that are going wrong in your life or wrong in the community or wrong in what it is that you're doing, I think that the greater majority of that relies on yourself and what you do. But there is a small part of me, I would guess a 5% of me, that says there is some conspiracy in this. And the conspiracy part in this particular thing would be the media, and the fact that the media plays such a huge part in the narrative of who we are and who we will become, because we don't have strong figures in our community, more so men in our community, that can break that line to where you say, hey, this is television and this is reality. Because we don't have that at home, the things that we saw as kids back in the 70s and the 80s, we saw things that were violent, we saw things that were crazy, we saw things that were wild. But once that TV went off, we had a parent there, a daddy there to say, hey, that's not real. Don't think that what you see on TV you're gonna do in my house, because that's not happening. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the type of thing. It's like, I remember my daddy telling me, one time he said, and my father was a Chicago police officer for 30 years. And he told me, he said, if you ever get locked up, don't call me, because I ain't coming to get you.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me, because I was like, Dad, you the police. Why wouldn't you come get me? And it put such a fear in me, to where even though when I did stray away in life and I did, those things I shouldn't have done and things that I'm ashamed of that I did do, it made me think to say, you know what, I'm going to go far, but I ain't going to go too far. Because if I get locked, I can't go to jail.
Very true.
And it's like, if there's no father at home to put that type of mentality, that type of mentality on you, to where you understand that you don't have any boundaries. So you go all the way, you go too far, and you get yourself in holes that you can't get yourself out of. So just to try to bring that back, that media piece is what I think really dictates a lot of that narrative as to what we do every single day. Watching the Bad Girls Club, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and Love and Hip Hop New York, all of that stuff, it's ratchet and it's wild. But because we don't have anybody at home to stop that, say, hey, you can watch this, but don't believe this, then that's why we take it too far and we go to the left with it.
I agree. All right, so the self-assessment, what can we do to clean that up, though? What can we do to get people to assess themselves in a more honest way? Because again, you're coming from a group of people who felt like they've been downtrodden their whole lives, and they have to make up wins since they don't actually have wins.
I believe that if you start by and this may sound corny, but when you start with a dream, then you have something that you're shooting for. You have a bar, you have an objective and a goal, whatever it is that you want to do in life. And that's something that your parents put in you. They make you say, what are you going to be? What you going to do when you grow up? Who are you going to be? And it can't be, we all can't be rappers and basketball players and football players, and we can't all be that. So something that's attainable. And when you have that goal, you can then look at and see, what does it take for me to get here? And what does it take for me to get to this goal? And then you can measure that up against where you at in your life today, and what do you need to do to get to that measure, to get to that mark. And it's like, sometimes I think that we try to do that after we've had the children, after we've been to jail, after we've been kicked out of school. Now, when we all down and out and we on our second strike, now we want to turn it around and want everybody to give us a chance. It don't, life don't work like that. It just don't. It's like, I'm down and out and I'm fresh out of rehab, and now I want to be a lawyer.
What do you think that
meeting and get out my face?
What do you think that comes from? Because if you listen to most of them girls who've been on my show, they do that. They fuck up their life. Many of us, and I tell people all the time, I'm 41, still cleaning up shit I did when I was 18. where does that? I think there's a juxtaposition there between me and the self.
I gotta look that up.
But
One more time. Let me write that down. That's
think,
a look it up, nigga. There.
I think there's a bit of a correlation between the two that are opposites, like the magnet that propels the other magnet, makes it go like repels the other magnet. Sorry, and it makes it go like that. I think when you say what you're saying, which is true, and what I was saying in the beginning is true, but I think they kind of make each other do this, which makes that happen. Because if you grow up in environments where success really is failure, then the only time you realize that isn't a true success is once you go through it. Like a lot of these girls see other girls with a kid and they think they have to have a kid in order to succeed. Then they realize how difficult it is once they have that kid by themselves. But I think a lot of what happens in Black communities is these people have to have things done to them before they realize they're real. They don't. So I feel what you're saying. You're like, you're on your fucking second strike. Now you're like, okay, I'm going to choke up on the bat and
try to get around on it just so I can at least get on base.
Right. But I think the reason that happens is because they don't really understand the importance of the strike until it's too late, until they get it.
And I that's 100% true, because we have taken away from our own, this is our own doing. We have taken away accountability and responsibility. Mm-hmm. We've taken that away from ourselves. We've let that dissipate. The whole, I hate the phrase, don't judge me. Can't nobody judge me but God. All of that has done nothing but help destroy our whole value system. And it's put us in a position to where we think that no matter what you do, it's okay. And if it ain't, then you just learn from it, because can't nobody judge you but God. As I'm patting my weave on my track or whatever.
Right, you smacking the shit out of your head, saying, I don't know why people talk about
nobody judge
me.
You but God, girl. You all here They don't know your life. They don't know who you is and where you from. This your life.
But that's what I mean, though. But that's what I mean. That's the push. The push is they are being indoctrinated into a world of failure. And the only time they're realizing it's a problem is when they fail. Then they start saying, wait a minute. The people who I watch do this, they're not having fun with this. That's actually not cool. But they didn't know it. I tell the story. My mom tells the story all the time, which is funny because we didn't get the story from each other, but we repeat it like we heard each other say it. I think it must be something amongst my grandmother. I said, we didn't know we were poor until we stopped being poor.
True.
We didn't know the steak we were eating was shitty steak until we got better steak.
Yeah.
And I think some of these people aren't realizing they're in a bad position until they get put in a bad position. And that sucks because they're not learned that. You know the difference between intelligence and wisdom, right?
No, go ahead, educate.
Well, one is you went through trial and error, means you actually you learned it by the shit went wrong. And wisdom is I learned it from you. I saw you go through it.
Do it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If I got wisdom, I didn't have to get the scar on my arm to know that motherfucking knife was sharp. I didn't have to burn my hand to know that the stove worked. And I think a lot of Black people, we don't have wisdom, because wisdom comes from, if you see your girlfriend get pregnant and you see what her baby daddy put her through, you say, I didn't have to have no baby to know how that shit was going to end. But we don't have enough people doing that. Why do you think? And we're still guys on number 2, the self-assessment, but we're drilling it down because this is the man with the solutions. I just give you the fucking problem and walk off. I'm a grenade.
It is.
I'm a grenade guy.
Let me see if I can get my hammer out here and come with the solution. So what I think that needs to happen is that it's hard for our women, especially our young women, to take advice from older men, to take advice from other races. And what I think that part of this whole rehab thing that we need to do with ourselves and our community is going to start with those women that we know that got their stuff together, that are on the right track. it's going to take them to, and I think this is what a lot of our good Black women do. If that's I'm using that term loosely, a lot of our good Black women, what they do is they're an example, but they don't hold those younger generations accountable for what they're doing. So that thing where you say, when you're talking about that wisdom piece, they don't take on that responsibility to say, look, young girl, that's twerking on Facebook Live with 3 followers. Let me show you why you don't need to do that, because this is what you need to be doing. And I think that it's going to take those women that know what they're doing to redirect and to channel that energy into them doing something for themselves. Because a lot of our young Black women, they don't know what they should be doing or what they should be. All they know is that the things that I have of value are what you see. My body, my looks, my butt, my chest. They think that that is all they have to work with. And that's because they weren't taught to be, hey, this is what you need to grow up to be. You need to choose whether you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. You need to put yourself in a position to where you can control and have more control over your life before you get 22 and just now realizing maybe I should have graduated instead of getting my GED. Maybe I should have went to college like my auntie did, or like my cousin may have, done, or whatever. They have to take on that responsibility and start taking those younger women under their wings and say, look, girl, that ain't what you need to be doing. And I'm not telling you to do what I'm doing, but you need to do something different with your energy. And I think that's where it needs to start, with those women putting that mantle on those younger girls, because they don't know. They think they know, but they just don't know. And by the time they realize it and understand, they 30, they got 4 or 5 kids by 3 to 4 different dudes, and they don't have a clue as to how they can get started to reach that goal. So instead of them trying to focus on being a registered nurse at the age of 16 and saying, this is what I'm gonna do, and if this don't work out, I can do something else, they go and they live their life like it was golden. They go and they do what they want to do. They be who they gonna be. It's their life because they fine and they thick and all the guys want to hit. They go through that. Then when they 30, they don't have nothing left but to be a phlebotomist or to be a woman that's working in a doctor's office doing the paperwork. Yeah, they get to wear scrubs, but they can't give no medicine. They can't give no injections because they didn't prepare themselves to be in that position.
Yeah, I always tell women, you can't wear no scrub and then turn around and say you don't want no scrub. Bitch, you put on scrubs every day. How dare you say something about you don't want no scrubs? But if you sit back and you look at it, and guys, we're still on the self-assessment, because I think this is probably, in my opinion, which I'm not good at it, because hey, I'm a nigga that's by himself. All I do is fuck hoes. That's not really I get it. It is what it is. I fuck a lot of hoes, but I can't tell you really how to stay in a relationship. But it's like I'm the dude that drank alcohol, but I know alcohol is wrong for you. I just fucked around and got addicted to it. I'm trying to stop anybody else from drinking for 2 reasons. Right. One, because I want to be the only one drinking, and the shit is good.
You all the drink.
But 2, I don't want you to like to be fucked up like mine. This is bullshit. I could have been a contender. I could have been. But no, I look at it as far as when you talk about what they're trying to be. I think a lot of us as young people were never given real goals. Why do you think that when a brother go to jail, it's like that's the first time he realized that reading is fun, education is something that he can do, but he's in prison. So why didn't he think education and reading was something that he should do when he was in the streets? Well, because the streets was what he was told to reach for when he was little. That was the goal. There was no one who had the degree. There were no lawyers, there were no doctors. There weren't people like that, so they couldn't set their sights to that. But then it sucks that these dudes go from, wait a minute, I'm locked up like a caged animal, but there are books in here. And then I look at the books and I realize, there's a bit of escapism there. Wait a minute, English is fun. Learning new words is good. But I had to go to jail for 20 years. before I
and
realize this.
what that does, that proves the point of saying that when you have parents in the home that can channel a child's direction, and you can focus that child's direction and that energy into something, they will succeed. Because when you in jail, ain't no choices. It's nigga wake up, nigga eat this breakfast, nigga eat this lunch, nigga walk around this cell, nigga go to sleep. That's it. That's all it is. At the end of the day, you got to check in with your celly to let them know that you about to drop a deuce. Hey man, I'm about to let you know I'm about to drop this deuce.
Yeah,
man.
I gotta put the little gotta put my tag on the door. I remember them days, boy. I would try to hold it, but when y'all had your break, I put my tag on the door. You know what I'm in here doing, pimp?
I'm about to ride this chrome, man. Just letting you know. That's what you're doing. So you ain't got those choices. So when you do see an outlet like a book, you go right to it. And that's the same thing with our kids. We have this thing to where, we tell our kids, you can be anything you want to be. You're going to be the next Barack Obama. You're going to be the next. Let's be realistic. And you can tell your kid you can do whatever you want to do, but you're going to do this and learn this first. Plain and simple. Now, once you got this tool in your tool belt, then you can go do whatever you want to do.
Nice.
And then you can be whatever you want to be. And that's the discussion that me and my wife had about my daughter. My daughter's 4. We had a discussion about this when she was 2. I said, no matter what my baby girl want to do or what she want to be, she is going to go to real estate school. She's going to have that tool in her tool belt to be a realtor. Now, she can go be a doctor. She can go be a lawyer. She can go be the next Beyonce, whatever she want to do. At the end of the day, she will have a specific tool and a skill set that she can fall back on, that she can sustain her life and live a comfortable life with. That's my job as a dad.
Nice. I like that, because if you think about it, for those of you who've gone to college, no matter what degree you want to get, there are core curriculum courses that they are going to make you take before you can even get into the stuff that has something to do with the vertical you want to go down. And I'm glad you said that. As we transition out of the self-assessment part of it into what you may consider as the third, but maybe you can elaborate that, because that's a great solution, because you just touched my heart on this idea of, let's say you're going to have to do this. You can do whatever you want, but you have to do this first, because even if you think you're not going to need it, I think you're going to need it, and it's good to have. And I remember my grandmother used to say to me, boy, if a Jeopardy game ever broke out, you win anytime. And what she was saying was, I have a lot of quote unquote useless facts. Yep. But I always said, and you know what? I'm 41. This started at 35. My knowledge of these useless facts came in handy at 35, when they used to get ridiculed when I was a kid. Now people sit around and say, wow, you know all kinds of little stuff. And I can have conversations with damn near anybody, because I know so many little facts that it seems like I'm an expert to any group I speak to, because I know I'm versed enough in a bunch of little stuff. And it goes back to what you were saying. Like, if you give your daughter these things, she may not even know that they're going to come in handy, but it's in her bag. It's in her tool bag. You didn't know you were going to need the flare. You didn't know you were going to need the stopwatch. You didn't know you were going to need that extra banana you brought, or the thing that helped you turn the rainwater clean. You didn't know it until you needed it. And the bad part about life, I think Black people don't understand, it's best to have something and not need it than need something and not have it. Elaborate.
Absolutely. And we do that because we have bought into the narrative of letting our children and letting people live. You see movies all the time about, oh, I just want to love who I want to love, and I want to live my life and be free to do whatever it is I want. You can do that when you have family wealth. The Kennedys can do that. You can be a 3rd generation, 4th generation, 5th generation Kennedy and do that. You can be a Rockefeller and do that, because the foundation has already been laid. But for those who don't have that foundation yet, which is us, we need to make sure that we solidify that. Look at how the Asians do. Look at how the Jews do. They have even the Indians when they come over here. Those kids don't have a choice. You're gonna be a doctor. You're gonna be a doctor. Why? Because this is a profession that you can learn. This is something that you can use to come back to India and help your people. And while you over there in America, you can go over there, you can make a ton of money to help bring 3 more of your cousins or your brothers or your sisters over there to do the same exact thing. You have no clue at how many Indians are doctors and are in their profession and have established themselves, and they're putting 2 other relatives of theirs through school.
You know what's funny too about that is, because they have a set example, you'll see the argument in the Indians or the Jews. I told you you were going to go to Yale. No, I'm going to Brown. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the, you were supposed to be an oncologist like me. I'm a podiatrist.
Exactly.
Like, because it was such a high expectation, even when they failed by that family standard because you didn't go to Yale.
Yep.
Their idea of failure was, I want to be different. I want to go to Brown. But they never thought not going to college was an option. They never thought not being an MD was an option. It's just what vertical they argued about. But you still had this successful kid, and now you have an oncologist and a podiatrist in your family.
Exactly. So and that oncologist and that podiatrist, when they get together at Hanukkah or whatever, you still have that father say, God damn it, you were supposed to be an oncologist. You will still have that. But he's like, Dad, I'm a podiatrist and I love feet and I'm good at what I do. You'll have those type of arguments. And they'll do a movie about that.
But think about it.
Why they hate going over to their family's house.
Well, think about it. But it's an argument about success, the types of success, instead of arguments over failures, types of failures. If you look at what we're doing in the Black community, we argue over failures. I've been to jail 8 years, nigga. You only went 2.
Yeah, you can't tell me nothing, nigga. Actually, I'll rank you on these streets, nigga.
Right. Our arguments are over failure. Like, as a man, I hate arguing with another man about who get the most pussy. How's that? You think about how bad that is, and that goes part to the maybe you can give me the third thing that destroys relationships. Mine would be other people. We don't know what we want, so we judge what we want by other people. So many of us will get in relationships because we got to, especially women. If their girlfriend is in a relationship, they'll get in a relationship because they want to be like their girlfriend. If their girlfriend, man, take them to eat every Wednesday, they'll come home and ask you, why don't you take me out to eat every Wednesday? I think because most of us don't know, we haven't self-assessed, and we don't have very good communication. The last thing we know is what we actually want. So when you don't know what you want, it's like the character in, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Italian Job.
Yep.
Remember Ed Norton's character got all that money and didn't even know what to buy with it. So he had to buy what everybody else wanted because he didn't know what made him happy. Do you think that that's a good one? I don't know what your third one is, but that was my third one, that we just don't know ourselves as far as, like, we don't know what we want. So we can't be creatures of sane direction and mind when you can so easily be swayed.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even like when you were talking about the I'm gonna do this so you do it too. I can remember clearly, man, in high school, several groups of girls having baby packs.
Yep.
Having baby packs. Yeah, girl, I'm gonna get pregnant. You gonna get pregnant. We gonna all have our babies at the same time. My baby name gonna be Tyron. Your baby name gonna be Tyshawn. And your baby name gonna be LaRon. And we gonna grow up and we gonna live together. That's because there's nobody at home saying the last thing you want to do is have a baby, because you are gonna have a life and your baby will come. We're not being taught at home to be wives first and then baby mamas, or then to be, you be a career woman first and then you become a wife, then you become a mother. Don't be a baby mama. There's nobody telling them that. So therefore the other influences from the popular girl who may be popular because she sleeping with the the head of the basketball team. She's sleeping with him. So now all the girls want to be like her, when the only reason why she's sleeping with him because she ain't got no daddy at home to tell her you better than that. Don't just go to school and be a whore. You go to school and you get your education so you can really be something because you got things to do in life. That's going to be greater than what you're seeing right now.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny? The hardest girl to try and say bullshit lines to is usually the girls who have fathers. Like girls who don't have fathers, bullshit lines work with them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I was talking about that last night to a young lady, and she said, well, you don't find it odd? Because I was telling her about a girl that I dated who sat in her dad's lap. And she said, you don't find that odd? I said, no. I said, as a hood dude who didn't have a dad and was used to fucking black girls with no dad, I found that amazingly odd. I said, but the difference is, as goes back to the second one, self-assessment, I was able to ask myself, why do you have a problem with this girl sitting in her dad's lap? That's her dad. And this was before I had my daughter. Then I started to appreciate her relationship with her dad because I noticed she's really sweet to me. And she probably got that from just being attentive to her father. So it's not difficult for her to be attentive to me because she did it to him. It's not difficult for her to be affectionate to me because she saw affection at home. But what she expects from me is the same stability that she gets from her father.
Absolutely. And here's how that is proven fact. That what you just said is the reason why Black women have this stigmatism or this stereotype of being feisty and we aggressive and you don't know how to handle us because we so strong and we're so this and we're so that. The reason why they're like that is because of that right there. They are argumentative. They are overly aggressive. They don't understand how to be with a man because they didn't have that father to teach them that. They didn't have that father to teach them to say, look here, woman, when you want something from a man, when you want a man to do something that you want, you be sweet to that man. You cater to that man. You submit to that man. And when you say those words to women, especially our women, oh, they turned off. I ain't submitting to nobody. Ain't nobody gonna tell me. You don't understand. We all submit to something in this life. There's something that you submit to. And it's like the way that our women will go and care for and do for their children. And what you see a woman treat her son like her man. And you see that because she has a love from birth with that child. And she has taken that to say, oh, I'm going to love him. I'm going to take care of him and I'm going to be everything that he needs me to be. Well, if you had that same mentality with your husband, imagine how much more, how better, how powerful you would be if you could love your husband the way that you love your son and treat him like he your man. That in itself is that whole thing that women have bought into of, yeah, girl, it's all right to be, feisty and don't take none of that stuff. Or when they compare themselves to white women, well, white women take more shit from y'all dudes. That's why y'all want to be with them. That's not it. That's not it. It's the fact that they understand their role and their place. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to know what position you play in a relationship. Everybody can't be the guy out front. Everybody can't be the strong one. Everybody can't be the aggressor. Everybody can't be the one that don't take no shit from nobody. Everybody can't be that. So why would I want to be with a woman who's just as aggressive as I am? What is the point in that? Why would I want to be with a woman who is everything I am or trying to compete with everything that I am and what I bring to the table? I don't want that in my life. I want somebody who compliments me and who is good in the things that I'm not. It's like I want somebody to be like that yin and yang, just as important, and you help complete the circle. But there are certain things that you do and certain things that I do as to how we work together.
I like the way that sounds. So let me ask you this: when it comes to the 1, 2, 3, the difficulties of communications, the difficulties of relationships in the Black community, just amongst each other, do you see a change? Because you're married. Do you see a change to where there will be more marriages and stable relationships in the Black community, or do you think that horse have left the barn and it's going to get worse? Like if we're at 24% of Black women will ever see marriage today, do you think in 10 years that number is going to drop, stay the same, or move up?
I would hope that it would move up. However, until we begin to tear down that stereotype and tear down those things that we know are detrimental to us as a community and when it comes to relationships, we have to start making better choices, and we have to be willing to change, which is actually my third point. The willingness and ability to change who we are, and when we want that and we actually are willing to do whatever it takes to get that, that's when I think it would actually change, or it would actually begin to shift for us. Because the way that we have, and we look at things now, it's all about us, it's all about me, and it's not about us. It's about me and what I'm going through and how I'm feeling. And that's okay to have that type of selfishness about yourself when you know that's what it is and you want to put that out there. So if I want to tell you, I'm the type of person that I'm jealous, I need to be reaffirmed. I need you to reaffirm me in who I am, because I'm insecure. If I can tell you that, then it's okay for me to be that way, because now you know what it takes to build me up and to strengthen me. However, we're in a position right now to where we haven't come to grips and can't assess that and can't put that out there and be transparent with that. So all we're doing is we're trying to cover it and we're trying to carry it within ourselves, and it makes us react differently to each other. It makes us become whores. It makes us be promiscuous. It makes us not trust. It makes us lean into the ratchetness because that's easy and that's what we know, as opposed to being something different. It's so hard and difficult to be something different in our community because we don't encourage different. We encourage the same nonsense. We encourage that same ratchetness, and we cultivate it. And there's a small number and a small percentage of us that will get out and see different parts of the world, see different parts of their own city, and know that there's a different way of living, and they can cling to that and go after that. But until we have started to promote that within our communities, that's when it's going to change. We have to start promoting us being better, being a better us as a whole, and making that be okay. Stop judging, or like people say, just because somebody ain't been to jail don't mean that they soft. And we have that mentality. If you ain't done this, you ain't been in these streets, you can't tell me nothing about these streets.
Again, that comes back down to, are we trying to have a conversation of wisdom? And wisdom means that I don't have to be on the Titanic to know that probably sucked to go down with that ship.
Exactly. I mean, even things that we do, just look at what we do with our money. How do you afford Jordans and you don't have a car? How do you have rims on a car that's worth more than the car? How do you not have your own home or your own apartment, but you spend $300 on braids or weave, or you those are the things that we do with our money because we want an instant gratification. We want that quick fix. It's like a drug, and that's all we're doing is chasing that quick high. And those are the things that we have to start changing and being smarter with. Now, ain't nobody saying that you got to wear Pro Wings or you got to wear New Balances, but you don't have to have $300 pair of shoes and you ain't got your own house.
You would assume. But here's the problem. You brought back up something I was talking about earlier. Short-sightedness. Women are typically short-sighted because
Very
people
true.
are helping them, so they can be short-sighted because people will always help them get out of trouble. I think that's one of the biggest problems in the Black community, that you're having men being raised by women. I think that's a destruction of the community, because it would be better to have women raised by men than men raised by women, because women teach you to be short-sighted, because a man doesn't have what a woman has, so he can't take those advantages of life. So if he starts to have a female's mentality, he's going to lose. And the majority of those people who are in jail, guess what they did not have? Fathers. And what would they do? They were short-sighted. So if you're short-sighted, no one can tell you to be a doctor, because what happens is, as we were stating earlier, you have all this freedom. And with this freedom, somebody tells you, well, if you have to make straight A's in this, and then you have to go to school for 4 years, and then you have to go back and go to school for 3 more years. That sounds too long to a person. it sounds too long to a 10-year-old that you tell them this, because they already don't like school because you've been teaching them wrong anyway. They don't like education and they don't like learning for themselves. So now you're telling that person, I know you want Jordans today, but you won't have the 2008 Jordans. But if you work for the next 8 years, you'll be able to get the 2016 Jordans on. But that doesn't sound good to them because they're saying, but my friends have them now.
That's so true. It's like I guess this is one of the biggest things that I want Black women to hear. The criticism that you're getting is harsh, yes. The things that you are hearing about what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis with children, with yourselves, with men, it's bad. Plain and simple. The reason why it's like that is because, and please hear, if Black women don't hear nothing else, understand and just believe for 1 second that you are playing out of position. If you can understand and realize that what you're doing right now is not what you were made for, it is not the position that you should be in. That is the one thing that you all need to understand, that I want you all to understand. Get back into your position. It's just like putting a woman on a football field. We got this mentality where we can say, you can do anything. You can do anything. You can be anything. If a man can do it, so can a woman. That may be true. However, there is not a woman on the face of this earth that can be the type of middle linebacker that Ray Lewis was. That's right. They might look like him. They might be his size. they definitely can do that. But they cannot perform the way that he performed in that position because they were not built for that. And we have this thing in our mind where we can do anything that a man can do. It's equal rights. It's not. You weren't created to all be the same. So why do you think that you should be able to, just because you can half-ass do what a man can do, that doesn't mean you should do it. And we have to make sure that we understand that. Get in your position, because the position that you're playing now, trying to do it all and trying to be all, look at where it got us. Look at where we're at today, and you can't tell me that we're in a good place. So it's like, and then that's a page that America could take out of that particular part of the book. Get in your position and be in the spot that you were created for and designed for, because at the end of the day, you should be wanting to function at your highest level by being what you're good at. I can cook, but I'm not a chef. I like to cook, but I am not a chef. So I'm not going to put myself in that position to be a chef, because I don't want the day-to-day responsibilities of being a chef. I don't want to have to say, this is what I do every day, all day. This is what I like to do, run my mouth about good stuff that matters. So that's why I'm trying to do that at the end of the day, because me doing other things, yeah, I'm good. I'm a computer technician by trade. That's what I do. Yeah, I'm good at it, but that's not what I'm best at. Because I believe this is what's in my heart. This is what's in my soul. This is what I want to do. And that's what I want our women and our men to understand. Dudes, brothers, niggas, whatever the case may be, whatever you call yourself, thugs, bosses, whatever. Be a man that has something to offer. Create, build. That is your job. That's what you're supposed to do. It's so many brothers, like you said, in jail. It's so many brothers, man. I've seen a dude in jail make a Monopoly set. How, Sway? How do you do that? How do you think in your mind, I'm going to make me a Monopoly game because I play Monopoly. I want to play Monopoly in jail. How do you do that? So it's like if you can create those type of things in those type of circumstances, imagine what you can do in a world where you have control over where you go in the direction that you can take.
That's what's fucked up. Think about that. I remember when I was in jail, motherfuckers was up in there with me, and we were figuring out ways how to cook shit.
Getting your noodle game together.
Yeah, like you ever heard the saying, necessity is the father of invention?
Yep.
I just hate that we have to be pushed into a corner to invent, because we're not thinking of how fun invention is. When I was a kid, because I was broke and I still wanted shit, I invented shit. Before I got my first actual transformer, I made transformers out of paper.
Yeah.
And I would make a jet and cut slits in it and shit like that to where it could stand up and transform and whatever. It would walk around, would make little cars. I would make all of this stuff because I wanted it and I didn't have it. So I said, well, apparently whoever has it made it, so I can make my version of it. That's a good thing and a bad thing, because right now what Black people are doing is making their version of families. We're realizing that family unit is important. But since we don't think that we can have this one family unit, we now call family just your mom and these kids. Fuck having a daddy. Well, it's still family to us, but it's not a good family. Look at what we did with pork. That wasn't good food, but that's what we had. So we turned that stuff into a delicacy. But in turn, it's given us horrible health. It doesn't jive well with the Black body. It's making us sick. It's giving us heart disease. These are things that we could change if we recognize that they were bad. Do you think we're going to have an awakening amongst Black people where the women start recognizing that the family unit that they've built is bad? Because, most people, like when they buy an outfit, you ever had a homeboy and he bought this outfit and he worked all week to buy that outfit? You cannot tell that dude that that's not a good outfit once he bought it. You can't tell him that don't look good, because guess what he's going to feel like? No, I bought it. I spent my money. Fuck what you think. I like what I got. And I think right now what we're dealing with is Black women saying, well, I built this. I'm not changing it. Do you see an actual way to convince them that what they built is bad and it needs to be torn down?
I'm gonna no. I'll tell you no. And here's why. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it. At first I was gonna try to sugarcoat it and say, well, we can, but no, we can't. And this is why. We have to, that type of change that you're talking about, that has to be fostered. And when I say that, I mean, you have to get with people that are of like mind, and you have to build with those people. And it's hard to do that in our community. When you think about back in the 1500s and the Roman days, when the men were knights and all that, when you think about those days, those women, and we're talking about the royal families, those men and women were betrothed to each other. Look it up, nigga. They were betrothed to each other, and what that meant was you didn't have a choice on who you married. Your daddy decided that.
Yep.
And your daddy decided that not because he wanted to be in control of your life and wanted to run your life and he wanted to judge you. He did that because he knew what was best for the family, what was best for that family, not just today, but 10 years from now, 2 generations later, was to put you as his daughter with a man that had a family that could build together, build wealth. So if I was a man that had sheep, and my daughter I had 2 daughters, and I knew a man down the road who had cattle, it would make sense for us to come together as family, because now we have sheep and cattle together, and we're bonded by that, not by a handshake, but we're bonded like that by families, and by that type of bond. That's something that lasts for generations, because it wasn't I'm gonna get a divorce. It wasn't none of that. So it was like you were able to build wealth and you were able to build nations because of those type of moves. That's what we have to do today. It's not saying that you have to marry your daughter off to the man next door or to the young boy down the street, but you have to put yourself in a community and in a situation and set standards for your children to say you will not come home with somebody who doesn't have a good family. You will not come home with a boy or a boy will not bring a woman home just because she got a fat ass. You will not do that. Those people that you sleep with, those people that you hang around, that's fine. But the person that you will marry and build a life with, that person must have some type of standard, some type of stature, and must be something that is worth building with. And when you can do that, then you can change your community, you can change your neighborhood, you can change your block, and you can change where you're at. That's how you change those type of things. You have to build with like-minded people and like-minded families. So those families that we have that are well off, well, and there are quite a few black people that are well off. Those are the people that need to keep procreating. Those are the people that need to keep building together, as opposed to Ray and Nuck and them that's down on the low end right now, getting it in on their third baby. That's the thing. We're getting outpopulated by that ratchetness.
But that's the thing though. If you have one group of people that knows slow and steady wins the race, and the other group who believes do what you can while you can, that slow and steady is going to always lose, because people do not see the value in taking their time until they run out of it. Damn, that's pretty good. But if you think about it, most people do not see the value. I talk all the time about what happened when with people on their deathbed. Have you ever noticed that most people on their deathbed, they don't even think about what they did. They think about what they wish they had have done before they died.
Very true. I think that those communities that we have where there are well-off Black people, I think that they don't. I think they feel as though that they've kind of done well for themselves, and they don't think about the further generations that come after them. So they don't put their families in positions of power. So it's like, if I'm a doctor and my wife's a lawyer, and we're in our $300,000 home, and we got 2 kids and we got a dog, we tend to let those kids do whatever and become whatever they want. And I think that's where we make the mistake, as to say, well, you know what, son, yeah, we living in this nice neighborhood, but I want you to get into politics. I want you to get into a situation where you can actually have some control and power. Now, I'm able to afford those things that you need. I'm able to put you through school, but I want you to take it a step higher and level up and don't become a doctor like me, become a senator. Because now you're in a position where you can make change and you can control policies and laws. That's one of the biggest things about us as people. Yep. We don't know laws and policies. We know right and wrong, and we shout that out all day long. We'll hold court in the street in a minute, but we don't know laws and policies. We so busy to tell somebody what ain't right, and they can't do that, and we don't know the law that actually says they can. Like, people have this idea and this concept that police are here to serve and protect. And if you notice, a lot of police departments have taken that off of their vehicles because that's not their job. Police have one job: to enforce and uphold the law. That don't include saving your Black ass. It don't. It's not a police officer's job to keep you from dying. It's a police officer's job to keep someone from committing murder. It's a police officer's job to find the person that committed that murder. It is not their responsibility to save you. It's their responsibility to uphold the law. So we have this concept about police and what we think they should do because we don't know the law and we don't know policy and we don't know how to change that. Marching in the streets, we shall overcome, that don't get you a change that affects your children and your children's children. That just gives you a spotlight and it gives you a stage for right now to be on TV so you can get your interview and your 5 seconds of fame.
So when it comes to let's talk about being a parent. Give me some solutions, because I always talk about these young Black girls having babies with no man in single parent households. Since I talk about it, what do you see happening to make a better solution for that?
For those young women and those young men that don't have babies, my solution for that is don't wait until you marry and wait until you got a wife or a husband before you have kids. For those that do, you need to make sure that you are putting and I'm talking about somebody who may have one, who can still may be young. Don't put yourself in a position to where another man or other circumstances that come in life can dictate how successful you become. And I mean that by saying, if I'm 18 and I'm a single Black mother and I got my 2-year-old and me and Ron J, we living our life like it's gold and we trying to make it out here. Don't get with that other man that you feel good about and that you like. Don't get with that other man. Oh my God, my
Wow.
bad. Don't get with that. Don't get with that other man and then put yourself in a position to have his baby, because that ain't gonna do nothing but set you back and put you right back at square one. Go ahead and keep that goal, keep that focus in mind to where you can become self-sustaining, not government assisted, but self-sustaining. I got my own job, I got my own house, I got my own car, and me being with this dude is not going to do anything but enhance my life, not make me survive. My survival is not dependent upon someone else, because a lot of our women make bad choices because they're trying to survive, and they're trying to survive because they put themselves in that position to where now I don't have that many choices. So I might just have to take old boy in the back and juggle his balls for a little bit and give him a little head so I can make it. That's where they put themselves because of the choices they made. I got to wait. I got to fly out to Tommy's house and make him fall in love with me so I can try to get my life together.
Right?
Tommy, please.
Well, what is that though? You said it, but we seem to, again, I said if you're laying on the floor, everything looks up. We've made this idea of struggling a good thing.
A way of life.
We talk about struggling all the time. We talk about how these girls, I'm out here getting that paper. I'm out here hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Like, seriously, watch a chick's Facebook. Watch a black chick's Facebook. Watch her Instagram. At least once a day, she try to talk about how she's struggling, but she made it. All we talk about is I struggle, but I made it. I struggle, but I made it. And I don't like that, because why do we always have to talk like this struggle has to be a part of life?
It's because that's all they see, for one, and that's all they know. They don't have that opportunity to experience something else in life. And in most hoods, most of the people that live in their hoods and in their ghettos, whatever you want to call it, most of the people that live there, they don't go outside of there. I know in Chicago, I know people that lived in the projects that were literally less than a mile away from the beach and never been. They were less than, just being downtown, 5 minutes away, never been, because all they know is they hood, because they hood got that liquor store, it got the little food mart that they go to, and it got the little store that they shop at to get their Jordans or whatever. It's all right there. So they stay in that area, and that's all they know. And they become literally products of their environment. So many of us do that, and there are it's a small percentage that get out, but it's a greater percentage and a greater whole. That's all they are products of their environment. They don't know any different, so they do what they know.
When it comes down to children, you spoke about what you do with your child. I talk about how these women are doing such a bad job of raising children because they seem rather selfish. Do you think what advice would you give to a single mom now that's young that may help them not be on Hollywood Clowning Black Women or Diary of a Bad Black Parent?
Acknowledge and accept the fact that you have made mistakes and you may not have done things the right way, but now you want to and will be the example and everything that you want your kid to be, and that should be a better you. We have this thing to where a lot of our women have this thought to say, well, it worked for me, so I ain't too bad. I turned out all right, so it can be good for you. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Your children are your legacy. At the end of the day, everything that you do in this life, everything that you try to build on this earth will someday crumble, but it's your children that will live on and be you in the next life, in that next level. So everything that you try to do and try to become, whatever you don't make it, however high you get, your children should be the baton. They should be the ones you pass the baton to go higher and to be better than what you are. And when you get to that and don't want your child to be your friend, but you want them to be better than you, then that is the advice that I would give to that mother. Don't just have your kid be you. That should be the price of admission. At the end of the day, what I do and who I am as a parent, that's a given for my daughter. She needs to be better than me and do it better than I did it as a mother one day.
What you're doing is asking a group of people who've, again, on the floor, everything looks up. If you don't have real successes around you, you make them up. And the one thing you don't want to have happen to your house of lies that you built, you don't want that to be brought down. So you're asking a group of people who will take pride in almost everything they do and say. You're asking them to be honest with the next generation and say that I want you to be better than me. Now, I think, like you said, the price of admission. I don't think you should be a parent if you don't want your kid better than you. I think the first thing you should do as being a parent is recognize your shortcomings and want your kid to have. It's just me. I have to believe that your purpose of having children is to make the generation better than the previous one. Remember, there was a point in which the guy who built the wheel was the most impressive guy in the street. Now we got a motherfucker that's building a computer that's big enough, that's small enough to hold in your hand. This is where we're supposed to be as far as everybody gradually or a leap get better. But it appears that if you're asking this group of women called Black women to do this, that may not be a good thing, because many of them have built their lives on lies. So they don't want to acknowledge to their children that I want you to be better than me, because they think saying that inherently tells their kid that they're bad, which it doesn't. But they believe that. Can you get them out of that mentality?
I think you can get some of them. So it's kind of like I know you didn't did this before, but you know how you can put toast in the oven, and when you cooking that toast, if you can burn it, and then you just say, hey, this piece is burnt, and you just got to throw it away. It is what it is, or you don't have.
Well, what? There's an error with my app. What error with what app? I see it, but it won't show it. Like, they can hear me, but they can't see me.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm saying they can hear me, but they can't see me. Well, I'm looking at it here and it says, let me press reset. Because on my back end here, I can't see me.
Okay, she said it's back.
Y'all can see me though? Y'all, they can see us and hear us. Okay, look. It's weird. Because it's not letting me see it on the back end. But if it's working, then we fine. All right, go ahead and continue.
Tommy said, motherfuck my toast analogy. He said, nigga, talking about no toast, nigga. What you talking about?
Like, that's weird. I don't see it moving. Is it moving? Are you hearing what I'm saying now? Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna take everybody's word for it that we're everything's working. So go ahead. I was cleaning some balls off my table. You know, you fucking with shit. And while you was talking, I got a hand thing. So I saw this and I was just pressing on it and squeezing it, and it came open, and all these little ass plastic balls fell on my table. And so now I got
spring cleaning doing the one-on-one.
Right, like, so I was just like, it didn't happen. I was just messing around with the thing. I didn't know these little balls was in it. I was just squeezing it. That's what I get for squeezing.
Said, man, fuck this toast shit. This nigga talking about I need to clean my area up.
I've been doing this for like 15 minutes. I'm weird like that. I was telling a young lady today, like, I have stuff on my mind and it'll paralyze me to where I won't do shit. Yeah. I'll just sit there and think about how much shit I got to do. Won't do none of it. Have you ever done that? Be honest. I know it ain't just me. Like, you get up and be like, I got a lot of shit to do. I got to get started. It be 2 hours later, your bitch ass still ain't done nothing.
Procrastination.
That's probably one of the most popularized and the most populous nations in the world. Procrastination. That motherfucker there. And they need their own flag.
Oh yeah, you from the east or
you know what I'm saying?
I'm from the west.
I'm a west side procrastination, nigga.
The weather's better over there, yeah.
But that's what it seems like. My whole life has been that way. But go ahead and continue with the analogy, because I want to see where you're going with that.
Yeah, so getting back to this cold ass toast analogy that I was doing. So you got the toast that you burned in the oven, and it's no good. You just got to throw that away. But there's sometimes when you can catch that toast and it's just a little charred, and you can just take a knife, scrape a little bit of that off, and that toast is still good. You can still eat it. You can still put the butter on it, and it tastes just the same. So it's not completely a waste. I think that those are the people that have the opportunity to change, because there are some of these women that know, and I've even seen you break through to some of them on the show. Yeah. There's some that know, yeah, this is what I'm doing, and it's okay, but this ain't what I know. I know this ain't all the way right.
Do you think inherently we know this? Do you think, even though they're sitting up here saying, I'm okay with everything I've done in my life, do you think inherently they know that's not what you wanted? Because the reason I ask this question is because I think that all of us at young ages think higher than we actually end up being. Like, we know at a young age. I remember saying to friends, man, we grow up, I ain't gonna never sell dope. I grow up, I ain't gonna never do dope. Like, we knew it, and something changed. Do you think deep down those women, while they know that what they're doing for their children is wrong?
I think they do, but I think that they are in such a place to where they feel like they don't want a lot. And this is just something that is just inherent with women. A lot of women don't want to admit defeat. They don't want to admit that they have royally screwed up and it's all they're doing. Like, it's easier for me to blame my circumstances than for me to blame my choices. So I can be like, you know what, Tommy? I was in such a bad way. My life was just in such a bad place. I was raped. I was molested. I was passed around. You can come up with all of these different things that happen to you. But at the end of the day, there are still certain things that you have control over that can change the trajectory of your life. Yep. So you can use that and say, well, you know what? I can use this and say, this is the reason why I'm where I'm at. Or I can take that and say, you know what? Although this shit happened to me and it was devastating, because we don't want to discount that. As bad as it was, there is still enough in me to where I want to succeed and I want to be better, that I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to another level. I may not get to the moon, but if I at least shoot for it, I may land somewhere in the clouds or whatever the case may be. So I think that our women put themselves in that situation and they kind of sit in that and have that pity party for themselves, and they have their friends that are doing the same thing, and you all come around and you all have those pity parties yourself, and you all patting each other on the back and saying, it's all right, girl, and girl, forget that, we gonna do us, we gonna be who we gonna be, and don't nobody know our life, and you doing that, but you're not saying, you know what, yes, it's bad, yes, it's terrible, and yes, I actually made bad choices, but now I still have breath in my body, and I have another chance to get it right and to make it better for not just me, because I ain't just gonna be selfish and laying this about me.
Thank you.
But I'm gonna do it just so my kid can do it. So when my kid sees something that happens wrong in their life, and my kid goes through drama and goes through trials, they can say, well, my mama got up and she did something better. You know, and it was like, that was something that I saw even in my mother. My mother, I mean, she did things that I wouldn't necessarily agree with to this today, but I know for a fact that my mama did the best she could with what she had, and because she did that, that inspired me to be better.
Well,
same thing to my father.
I think that's what we're missing. We're missing that want to say, I had this, I turned this into this. And now somebody can see it and they say, my mom started off with $5. She ended up with 500. That 500 was passed to me, i.e. the baton analogy you gave. When you ran to me, when you gave me that baton, I was in third place. So that means there's only 2 people in front of me. When we started, there was 10 of us that started on the line. When you gave it to me, I was third. So now I can at least think when I grab the baton, if I can at least just keep us third.
Mm-hmm.
Because you remember I said when you're on the floor, everything looks up. But when you started with 10 people and you ended up being third, you actually have a place to go down from. You're not on the floor anymore. And I think a lot of us as Black people, legacy, family, community. When you have legacy, family, and community, you have a line of demarcation. If your family was all drug dealers, you still have a line of demarcation. It may not be the best. You have one. What happens is, I think with us as Black people is we just stay on that floor. So it's very difficult for these people to have the want to pass a baton, because when they pass the baton, it's like the line didn't move. So it's still 10 people at a starting block. I think most of us Black children always are at the starting block. I look at myself, everything I'm building is what I'm building. I didn't get a chance to build something on top of someone else. I didn't get a chance to have legacy, community, or family show me what is acceptable, because that's what legacy, community, and family is supposed to do. Show you what's respectable and what's acceptable. And when you have those things, those dynamics at home, then it allows you to understand where you are, and it allows you to have a baton given to you. Most of us, if we do go to college, we're the first one to go.
Right.
If we do get married, we're the only niggas in the family that's married. So we're going on uncharted territory. Doesn't mean it can't happen, because remember Lewis and Clark, that was uncharted territory, but they charted it. But then that comes from a different mentality. When you have someone that says, I want to chart this land, they have to know that this land needs charting. So what would you say to those who come from environments that were poor environments, and them trying to figure out, and I don't mean just poor monetarily, I mean a poor mentality, but they recognize it's wrong. So they find themselves in a position to be the first. What would you say to them to give them an encouragement? Because it seems like it would easily fall into the point of you feel discouraged if you're like, well, why would I do that when everybody else in the house hasn't done it and they seem okay, so I don't have to do it?
I think that part, or that thing that we want them to actually do, that change, I think that's what we're doing. I think that we are being the example that maybe somebody will stumble upon this, somebody will click on this one day, And this conversation that we're having, the thousands of videos that you've done, the handful of videos that I've done, I think that those will be the things that will spark a change in somebody. Because most of the time when we want to change, we want to do something different, one of the main reasons why we don't is because we don't see anybody else doing it. We don't want to step out and be that black sheep. We don't want to step out and be that oddball. We don't want to be the one that says, I'm going to try to do this. Even though y'all doing that and that's okay, I'm going to try to do this, because we don't want to take the ridicule. We don't want to take the shun that we're going to get by stepping out of that basement that you say that we in. We don't want to even head over towards the stairs, because if we do, what everybody else is going to do, hey, where you going? Where you going to the stairs? Oh, you a lion. You ain't trying to be down here where it's real at. We real down here. You trying to go upstairs. We got that mentality to where we don't want to do that, because we don't want to take the ridicule. And the ones that are trying to keep us in that basement, they're too afraid to even take those steps towards the stairs.
I want to make sure, is that relationship rehab in the comment section? Is that you? Is that someone from your channel handling that? Somebody just said, feel free to check out our channel for more content from Brian Redmond at the Relationship Rehab. Continue the conversation with us after today.
No, I don't know who that is.
Oh, I was gonna, if it was, well, damn. If it was you, I was gonna make him a mod. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Maybe that's my channel, the Relationship Rehab.
Let me click on to make sure it's yours. Is it possible that could be your spouse?
No, that's not my wife.
It's your channel.
It could be a friend. I would say just check it and see.
It's your channel. I see you, and I see a bunch of videos. It's your channel.
Okay. That's what's up. Who is that? Celine?
Celine is posting about you, but then somebody else from the Relationship Rehab is actually the channel.
Oh, that could be. I didn't see that. I didn't see that in the chat thing. So yeah, because there's only one other person that has it. So if it's them, then that's them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So all right. So I'll mod them so they can put the link in there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's my boy Mike. Yeah.
Mike P. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. He said Mike P.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's the guy that makes me look decent, man. If you see them early videos, that was me. If you see the later stuff, that's him, man.
So he's a moderator, so he can put all your links on there, Instagram, and everything. So he can put it in there now. But so I want to ask you this then. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I got to run up to FedEx in a few minutes, so we're going to do a part 2. But I want to ask you this before I leave. Black men are having a hard time getting together and building with each other. They're easily separated. They easily kill each other. They easily harm each other. They easily rob each other. They easily disrespect each other. I talk about it, but as you know, I just throw the fucking grenade and walk off. Whatever the fuck happens, when I come back, I look for the carnage.
Well, what happened?
I just come back and take notes. Ah, yes. All right. So, but what would you suggest for us? Because you and I, hopefully we don't end up on each other's bad side, which what a lot of Negroes end up doing. What would you suggest for us as black men to start valuing each other's lives?
I would say that, so when you are a true builder, you're a creator. When you have that confidence in what it is that you want to do, and you are with those that are like-minded, and you are willing to build on your own, then the other brothers that you are with, the other people that you are in, that you network with and connect with, they're only going to help you build. That's the iron sharpens iron part of it. So it's just like, I see that where I'm at, and that's why I guess I always say that you my younger big brother. You know, even though I'm older than you, you are on a level that I aspire to be at one day and possibly surpass. But at the end of the day, you don't make me. You don't control my destiny. That's in my hands. And I understand that. So if we do this show and never do another one, I appreciate the moment and where we're at, because that's a part of my journey. And I'm glad that I had that moment, because I'm still building. I'm still going to do what it is that I set out to do, because I see my vision. I have my path. A lot of our brothers don't have vision, and they don't have the dreams in place that they can build on their own. So when they see somebody, it's not necessarily a dig at you, but it's a dig at you have something that I don't, which is greatness that you've helped build on your own. Because at the end of the day, if you didn't do another video after today, you have something that is a legacy. You have something that you leave behind for those that come after you, your children, your friends, people who know you and people who don't, that you've done on your own, and you started from nothing and you built it. When a man doesn't have that, when they don't have something that they built on their own, then when they don't have male guidance, then they pick up traits of jealousy and envy, and they try to have that crabs in a barrel mentality. And it's easier for me, as opposed to accepting what I didn't do and my lack of effort, my lack of hustle, my lack of grind. It's easier for me to hate on you and critique you and tear you down than it is for me to tear myself down to build myself back up. Wow. It's like I have this thing that I say where you have to, men and women alike, you have to be willing to embrace your hammer. And what I mean by that is, even though that hammer is going to tear you down, that's the same exact tool that you're going to use to build yourself back up. That hammer that tears you down, it hurts. It ain't what you want to do, but sometimes you got to tear yourself down a little bit to build yourself back up. And when you can understand that as a man, now you're in a position to where you can see whether you fail, fall flat on your face, fall flat on your ass, whatever happens in your life, I have the ability and the tools to build myself back up again. I have the ability to reinvent myself all over again. And you have that as long as you have breath in your body. Be willing to become something better than what you are today. And then you ain't got time to worry about what somebody else doing. You ain't got time to worry about how somebody else is doing this or somebody else is doing that. Because even though you talk about the haters and you talk about the people that have their opinions about you and they talk all this craziness about you, you're still building your own dream. At the end of the day, you will sit and do a show and talk about how this dude is crazy and he talking crazy. He talking about, oh, we gonna shut Tommy down. But all the while, you steady doing your one-on-ones, you steady doing your live shows, and you're steady building your own thing that you started. Because that's your goal, that's your dream, that's your vision. That's what men need to have. That's what men need to start doing. Focus on yourself and what you want to do and get yourself with like-minded people. And then you can be great.
All right. Well, I like that. And that was a great way of stopping the show right now. We're going to have to do like a part 2. I got to run and pick up a package that apparently, which I have so many ways that you can ring me at my house. I got the video of this white man just standing outside my house and ringing the doorbell. He was ringing the shit out of it. He rang both doorbells. Apparently, I was so high that I just slept through it. Because I got high last night. I needed to go to sleep, so I got high. And I went to sleep. But I think I was so like worn out because like weed and head will drain a man. He'll be like, oh my God, this weed is strong, and so is this suction.
It's too much.
Right? That's how I was like, I'm just going to sleep. So
it's THC and this HEAD.
You know what I'm saying?
Put me out of commission. I
can't go. I woke up and they was like, we was at your house. So I got a letter from the government the other day.
I opened and read it. They said they were suckers.
They wanted me for they only have a picture of me giving a damn. I said never.
Here is a man that never gave a damn about a black man, and I could never be a veteran.
Boy, I like somebody that knows some public enema. Public enema. But I got a letter that said, he said, I will be at the FedEx off of Dysart between 5 o'clock and 5:10. You can receive your package before I return to the station. Who the fuck give you a time like that? Be here between 5 and 5:10. Who is this nigga? Ted Turner? Like I was like, I don't know why, but I gotta go there. But he got a package for me because I was sent the GH5, the newest GH. So I was sent that, and I guess they want it's a camera.
Oh, okay.
So I was sent that, so I got to go there and pick that up. I guess they wanted to make sure I got it because I had been complaining that people been stealing shit from my house, so they won't just drop it off no more. But I never seen no motherfucker give you a 10-minute wonder like that. Like this nigga selling dope or shit.
5
you know,
and 5'10".
I'm gonna
This
tell
message will self-destruct.
Right. I'm gonna tell him,
there, man.
I'm gonna tell a bitch you could suck my dick between 5:01 and 5:07.
It may or may not explode. I'm hoping it does.
You know what I'm saying? This message will self-destruct in your mouth. But no, you just sit there, and I was like, "What kind of time is this?" So I'm gonna go there and pick him up, and then we're gonna have to do a part 2 though. I like this where you're giving solutions like that. Before I go though, tell them where they can reach you on if you have any other sites like Instagram and shit like that.
Yeah, you can go to my YouTube channel, of course. That's The Relationship Rehab. You can go to my website. That's therelationshiprehab.com. You can catch me on Twitter at Relate Better. And you can catch me on Instagram at The Relationship Rehab. So hit me up on my website. You can send me questions. I do videos and respond to people who have questions about their girlfriends, what they should do, about being a side dude or a side chick, whatever the case may be. I got all kind of stuff for you. So if you need some help with something, you hit me up and I'll definitely respond to you. And man, that's it. Let's build and let's grow, people. Let's become better versions of ourselves.
Amen. I might have you on the penalty box one week. I'll let you do the penalty box.
Yeah.
But people can
let's
call
do
you.
That.
And
let's do that.
I think that'd be cool.
I do want to say one more thing. And I want to say this because this is nothing but the truth and how I feel. People talk a lot of shit about what you do and who you are, but I can definitely say and I can testify that you ain't been nothing but a stand-up dude, and you have given somebody like me who don't have nothing, who ain't got nothing, who ain't gave you nothing, you giving me a chance to, give my voice to your audience. And I am eternally grateful for that, man. What you did for me, a lot of brothers wouldn't do, a lot of brothers don't do, and I don't see it. And I wouldn't dare let this show end without acknowledging that. Man, I really appreciate you and what you did for me and the things that you say and how you've inspired me. I really do appreciate it, man, from the bottom of my heart, man. It's definitely an honor and a privilege to be here with you and to the Soto Nation. I really do appreciate this, man. And it's like, man, I just want people to know Tommy is a stand-up dude. As far as I'm concerned, all the rest of y'all can say what y'all want to say, but my man ain't been nothing but 100 with me, and that's facts, man.
Well, I tell you what, I want to thank you for being patient with me because I had said I was going to do the interview it's 2 weeks ago, but I've been running back and forth from city to city.
Nigga, I know you like a unicorn or a leprechaun, but that's just the nature of the game. That's how it is, man. I understand that.
So it's one of those things where I'm glad we could do it, and I want to do it again. And I do want to build more relationships with black men. That's why I asked you that as the final question, because else as black men, we're destroying each other. Let me go ahead and make sure this white man get me my package. But thank you for joining me on the show. And let's talk again, bro. Let's
do it, man.
All right.
Hey, man, text me after you get the package so I at least know you made it, man.
I'll text you. Then I'm
in no van.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a video for it as well. So I'll let you guys see the GH4. 5. I'll use it, see what it does, and do my whole little spiel and whatnot. But thank you guys for joining us. I will be doing a show tonight. Hopefully, my brother will call in on that show because what we're gonna do is talk about alternative relationships. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
man. Take your gun with you, man.
So I might have you come and call. I don't know what kind of time you got. I might let you just co-host the show with me.
All right, let's do it, man. I'm open tonight, brother. Let's do it. Make it happen.
All right. Hey, for some reason, BE100 radio is calling me. I don't know what this is, but I'll press it. Hello? Hello? I think it was an accident. Yeah, they accidentally called me. Well, I'm getting off all of it. Bye. Bye, everybody. Did I do something wrong? Okay, bye. I'm trying to get the fuck out of here, y'all. I'll talk to you later.